Yes. All right, welcome. Welcome to yet another live stream. I hope you can hear and see me well. I can. And today's topic, as you've seen, the future of Japanese journey, this channel. And essentially, you may know already, so what I'm planning to do with this channel is focus on central Japan, essentially the area where I'm living, because recently, for my last video, a friend came here, Victor, and we wanted to see the snow monkeys. And then we couldn't, because the town closest to the snow monkey park had a corona outbreak. It became a cluster. So we said, okay, if we go there, we wouldn't go to the town, but we would go there by bus. So coming back, we would potentially be on the bus with people from the town. So we said, let's play it safe, go somewhere else. Where should we go? So I asked people from Nagano, where do you go? I have a friend coming, where should we go? And they said, I don't know. So they don't know, even though they live here, they don't have a recommendation for foreigners where they should go. Except for like the one attraction, which is a big temple here called Zenkoji. So thinking about that, I thought like, this should change, because there's a lot of great things here that are not just this one temple. It's a great temple, but after that. So I want to show to you and everybody else what Central Japan has to offer. Essentially everything that nobody else is showing you. And I have a couple of topics already in mind. Need to be a little bit careful right now because the corona situation demands care right now in Japan. But still, let me share with you what's coming up. The first one is Japan's best sake, which is in the town of Obuse. So there are a couple of sake breweries. Nagano has a lot of rice, and rice is used for brewing sake. So that's like a perfect match. Another one would be the best Wagyu you have never heard of. So maybe, have you ever heard of Shinshugyu? Exactly. And that's why I will introduce it to you. Another one would be 7 must-try Japanese foods in Nagano. So then essentially going over the specialities of this area. And then, staying at the topic food, 3 unbelievable food bargains or deals in central Japan. Because when I went 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks ago, 1.5 weeks ago, I went to this town Obuse to see if I can actually film something there, if it's worth going there with a camera. And I found an Italian restaurant which offered something that felt very premium to a price that didn't. So essentially, it way over delivered for what it cost. It was like a 5-course menu for like $20. And it looked fantastic and tasted great. So that sparked this idea. A second thing I would like to cover in this video is $30 Wagyu. So essentially, I found a restaurant here where you can get 100 gram. That's not the world, but it's something of Wagyu. And then it may not be A5, but still it's pretty nice. So I tried it already. And that would be the second thing. And then I would need another one to make it 3 and then have like essentially a small list. Then I want also to cover staying in a Japanese igloo with a friend from this area here, because there's this experience in Nagano. I'm not really sure if it will work out this time because of Corona and so on, but we are still planning. It's still on our roadmap. And then the snow monkeys, it's still on my list. I still want to go there and film them. Yeah. So that's that. Now, having said all that, it's also still Corona out there, so I'm kind of focusing a little bit on here. So currently I'm editing a video, a day in my life in Japan, essentially where I show you what it's like living here. And don't be too excited because it's pretty boring, essentially. It's probably very similar to what you do. So getting up, working, eating, sleeping, and things like that. And yeah, that's what's coming up until now. And then, of course, I announced previously, maybe a week or so ago, I will also make a QA video again. It's been a year, so it's about time we do another one. And that's what's in plan for the future of this channel until now. If you have any ideas, anything you would like me to cover, anything you would like to see, then please let me know. And now I will check your messages. So John says, I hope neither of us go to sleep before the scheduled starts. Before the scheduled start. Yes, so far it worked out, at least for me. And then, is that the view of Fuji from your house? No, it's not my house. I wished. So actually I bought this picture. It's a stock picture, so I didn't take it, unfortunately. And it's not from my house. I even don't know if it's Mount Fuji. Let me search that quickly. Maybe it is. I don't know where it is. I have to search a little more probably. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe Mount Fuji. I think so even, but not my house. So actually from my previous house in Yokohama, I could see Mount Fuji from the balcony if I went like this. And if the weather was really nice, which was really usually in the morning in January, maybe February. So winter months morning, then I could see Mount Fuji. But here, central Japan is quite far away. And also there are the Alps in between Fuji-san and me. So that doesn't work out right now. Hi, says Shahazar Irshad. Hi, Shahazar. Well, glad to have you here. Demiran says, hello, Anis. I won't be able to follow the stream because I have classes in about 20 minutes. So I just came here to say hi and have a good one. Thank you, Demiran. Enjoy your classes. I hope it will be valuable. Hopefully you upload the stream afterwards. Bye. Yes, it will be available as always for 48 hours publicly, and then I will make it unlisted, but it will still be available through the live stream playlist. Alminox says, how much did I miss? Maybe 5 minutes or so? Not much. Welcome. Hey, says Jussi Wadas. Hey, good to have you here. And Stefan Knust says, hey, greetings from Germany. Having lunch break at the office now. Lunch break, I see. It's about 1:38, I guess, in Germany. Also good to have you here. I hope you can follow along for a little bit. Also tonight, no beer for me. So recently I didn't. Actually, I tried to get, because I don't like beer usually, but when I had a German beer here in Japan after a couple of years, it really tasted great. So I was super surprised because I never really enjoyed beer. And then, so I want to get another one recently, but it was sold out. Kevin Abroad is here. Kevin, so glad to have you. I hope everything is going fine. How's your Japanese progress? I'm following your progress update videos every now and then. Not every time, but I enjoy them. So please keep them coming. You're right. 13:38 says Stefan. Okay. Yes. Okay. I usually try to have lunch around 12. So it's late for me. Here's a suggestion I have been contemplating making myself. Building an emergency go bag for living in Japan. That's actually something I also have thought about. You mean something like, if I understand it correctly, so you probably mean something like earthquake emergency set or so, right? And actually we purchased something like that. So there's like all the stuff inside, like dry shampoo or whatever and all that. I think it's only for one person, and would be pretty interesting to have this, like, A, this exists, and B, what's inside, and then C, of course, other measures that can be taken or are taken in Japan, like this evacuation areas that you find on every school or something, and the trainings you can take, and what you should actually do when there's an earthquake, like going below the table and so on. Yeah, my life is fun. On third lockdown in the UK, yay. Yeah, Kevin, I mean, and now the French cheese is also gone, right? I saw on your Twitter, so it's a tough life. Are you doing YouTube full time? No, I don't. I have a day job, so I'm actually doing this now after my work. So I work, then I eat, then I bring the kids to bed, and now I'm doing this. So probably I would upload more if I did it full time. Currently, that's not financeable. I mean, the finances don't allow me to take the step. Will Lantern Festival be held at Zenkoji next month? Good video subject. I don't know if it will. I doubt it. I think they did. So they did the illumination, I think, in December. But Lantern, I don't know Yeah, so usually the biggest festival in Nagano is Binsuru, which is in August. This was also canceled this year. It's also, I think it would be a great topic. It's like 20,000 people come to the city and dance. I mean, not like wildly, but kind of coordinated, but it's pretty nice. It would be probably a good subject indeed. But again, I mean, even if it happens, I'm pretty cautious. If I wouldn't have family project, I would definitely go. It's going well. Okay, according to my teacher, I'm ready for N5 level, although I would probably need to improve my basic kanji reading skills. Yeah, I don't think you need to worry, because, I mean, if you don't, I mean, except if you want full perfect score, then manten, then yes, maybe. But I mean, you went through remembering the kanji, right? So probably I mean, I haven't taken N5, but you probably get the idea of the text anyway, even if you haven't explicitly learned how to read the kanji. Yeah, the French cheese. Actually, when was that? 2 days ago or so, I bought brie, 2 slices like this long and this thin for like $4 each. So that's very luxurious here, and I enjoyed it a lot. In case of earthquake or similar, I see. I was utterly unprepared for the 7.0 Hokkaido earthquake a few years ago and wished this was discussed more. I see. I remember, so actually the biggest earthquake I ever experienced was in end of November 2014, when I came to Japan to visit the woman that's now my wife for the first time. And we went on a road trip. So we went to Nagano, then visited her parents, essentially like the introduction and so on, this mandatory stuff. And then we went to Kanazawa. I then came back. I think just when we came back, or we went on another trip and came back, and we left the car, and then it was shaking. I heard the sound like, you know, when the what's that, blinds clap against the window and so on, maybe some dogs barking or so. And I thought like, is everybody closing the blinds at the same time? I'm like, oh wait, it's shaking. And my back then girlfriend, came over to me like shaking. And this was a 6.5. I think nobody died probably, but lots of, like at Zenkoji, the temple we discussed before, things fell over and broke, and lots of things like that happened. This was the biggest one I experienced so far. And then when I moved from here, so there weren't too much in Nagano because it's in the center. It's not on the Pacific Ring of Fire. But when we moved to Yokohama, like in 3 months, we had like 5 minor earthquakes or so. Yeah, French food is expensive in Japan, probably. I think so. Yeah, I mean, yes, and it's but it's kind of popular, but I guess it's not authentic. I mean, a lot of bread and so on is unfortunately not German, but French, at least inspired by French bread. There's a bakery at the station. They have something called, I think it's even called German, the bread's name, but it's not German bread. Another funner question: driving in Japan, not only do you drive on the left side, but car interior is also mirrored, so controls are on opposite side of steering wheel from normal. Yes, so let me think. So the pedals are the same, so they're on the right. So you use your right foot. And what's that? Winker, I think, is on the right. So usually in German it's on the left, or would be on the left. So usually I use the wrong one. Then the wiper goes on. But I got used to that. So there are a couple of challenges to overcome. Might be a good topic. Although I must say I don't drive a whole lot. I do it much more since we moved to Nagano, but also not like every day. And of course, if you have a manual, then it would also be on the left, not on the right. How long have you lived in Japan, and how do you like it? Asks Annie. I've lived here since July 2016, which is about 4.5 years. And it's okay. I'm getting used to it more and more, but I'm still not like 100% used to being here. I think I still don't understand a lot of stuff. as in culturally. And I think there's still a lot of stuff that I don't even realize I'm not understanding. So yeah, which might have a little bit of cultural background, as in people see that I'm not from Japan, so if I behave differently, it's kind of okay. And then they don't tell me, essentially. But yeah, I would love to know, actually. Kevin, can you get French food in England or not? I mean, I haven't been to England for so long. I think last time was in 2012. And I was twice, actually. Once for speaking at the conference, that was so-so. But before that with friends, which was great. We went obviously started in London and then Oxford to visit a friend who was studying there. And I loved Oxford because of these old houses, and then you go into the Union or somewhere, and I thought, okay, let's get the most expensive drink. And then for some reason he said, okay, come to the bar. Like, okay, went to the bar, and then he stacked like the glasses on top of each other, and then it was like pulled it down and then set it on fire, and that's like, now drink, and you have 2 straws. And like, what? And like, had one friend come over and then finish the thing. And that's why it was expensive, because it was a lot and big and impressive. How are your Japanese language studies progressing? So skills, I mean, it's obviously progress because by the fact that I'm in Japan, so because I'm exposed, I guess. So but it's also kind of limited. So at my work, usually I don't use Japanese. So that would certainly help. And outside of work, it's all Japanese, but because my wife doesn't speak English or German, but it's still limited to how we talk to each other. So one, she uses obviously a very female way of conversation, and B, it's a very informal way. So that's what I would consider myself the strongest. And recently I haven't been learning, so that's about it. So, but probably I will. So usually in the evening, if I still have time, if I don't go to sleep already, then I have to make the decision: do I do something like this, or work on a video or something, or learn? And recently I've been focusing more on the videos. Yeah. And the thing with learning, as you probably know, is it's a marathon and not a sprint. So if you don't put in the work every day, or at least 5 times a week or so, then it's going to be a hard one. Seeing you without beer. Do you have any favorite Japanese soft drinks? Let me think. I like Mitsuya cider. So it's called cider, but it's non-alcoholic. It's like lemonade or something without lemon. Maybe it's like, I don't know what's in there. I like that one. And then another one. I think that's the only one that comes to mind immediately. Yeah. What was it called? Crafty. It's called Crafty, and it's iced tea, essentially. That's what European iced tea. I don't know. Yeah. So in Japan, if you order iced tea, then you get a tea with ice inside, so it's not sweet or anything. So that was quite surprising in the beginning. And the other way around, when my wife was in Germany and she ordered iced coffee, she got a coffee with vanilla ice inside, but she actually thought she would get a cold coffee and then ice cubes. So you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, unfortunately. It's like, maybe you know this analogy. So the thing when you're dying is you are actually not the person that's really affected by dying is not you, but the others. So you don't really realize, right? You're gone. And it's the same thing when you're stupid. So the others suffer and not you. And in that sense, so I don't know what I don't know. Or as long as I don't know what I don't know, I can't learn it. Or I can't work towards knowing it. I like Mitsuya cider a lot. Yes. Me too. but I don't drink it anymore. Also crafty because there's sugar inside. Unfortunately, I'm sugar-free. How is the German efficiency clashing with Japanese business meeting culture? A lot. So depending on how Japanese the environment is, it crashes a lot. Especially so now it's a little bit different because also Japanese also kind of top down, and now I'm a little higher. So then if I say something, usually it's accepted to be more direct. But when I was like essentially on the member level or so, and I gave a very direct response to, for example, a question of very Japanese in behavior members, then it would result in issues. Did you know some Japanese people before moving here, there, or did you mostly learn on the go? Some Japanese, not people, some Japanese. Yes, both. So when I came here in 2014 to see my back then girlfriend, then I had learned so I tried a course called the Michel Thomas Method, Total Japanese, which is an 8-hour audio thing. So it's very basic, as you can imagine. And I had done 7 of these, 7 hours out of 8. And I had done James Heisig's Remembering the Kana, but only for the hiragana. So that was my baseline when I came here. And then I learned a little more when my wife came to Germany for a year, and I think I was almost done with the first Genki. Tried Heisig's Remembering I had remembered hiragana, katakana, kanji like maybe 300, but only the reading or so. And then I gave up with Heisig back then. And then I moved to Japan. So I had like a little bit, but it was kind of very barely surviving. So better than nothing, definitely. It helped. So right when we came here, after like 5 days or so, friends came and we did a round travel for like 2 weeks. And hadn't I had the level of Japanese I had, it would have been much harder. So even that little bit, like 10 chapters into Genki, was helpful. It reminds me of Sprite. Yeah, of Sprite, but probably without the lemon. By the way, I found when I came here that Sprite and Fanta also taste different in Japan than it does in Europe. Is it better to rent or buy a house in Japan? That's a tough one. So my personal feeling is, to generalize, my feeling is if you rent, then you pay off somebody else's loan, and if you purchase, you pay off your loan. That's my general feeling. And with that being said, so judging by that, yes, it's worth it. But comparing it, for example, to purchasing a house in Germany, it's not. Absolutely not. Because usually the house devaluates a lot. So after 70 years now, maybe, so for all the houses much faster, 30 years or so, you wouldn't get anything for it. Or even less because it has to be removed by the next person. So you have your land that's, of course, might increase in value depending on where you are. So Tokyo definitely. Nagano maybe. I think Nagano lost like 3,000 inhabitants or so per year. So it's not super hard, but still not perfect. But now with Corona, more people move to the countryside, so I can't really tell. But it's kind of might increase, might decrease. But at least you have something in the end, and not as if you rent. But then, of course, you have the risk if there's a disaster or something like that, or your visa becomes invalid for whatever reason or something like that, then you still have the loan. What's up? Different different games. That's the name. Okay. What's up? I never get in time for your videos. Oh God. So why I'm stopping so often when I'm reading is I forgot to put in context. So I'm actually not wearing my glasses. So let me change that. Okay. Oh, I'm Professor Johannes now. I never get in time for your lives and never comment on your videos, but I'm here to thank you for your great videos. You have influenced me to start learning Japanese. That's amazing, different games. And I really appreciate you being here. It hasn't been too long, 24 minutes only, so it's pretty early in the live stream. And thank you so much for chatting here, for commenting now. How difficult was the process of marrying a Japanese person? The paperwork back and forth with German authorities must have been fun. Yes, actually, German authorities were harder to convince. So, okay, don't tell them, but here's what we did. So in Germany, when you want to marry, you need to essentially go to, some authority. And then if the partner doesn't speak German, then there needs to be a translator. So, and it's pricey. So we said, okay, she learned German for half a year, so maybe it works. So we went there, and and now don't tell them. What we did is, we are sitting there. First, the first question, she asked my wife. I tried to answer for her, and she's like, "Will you let her answer?" So it was really strict. And what we agreed on before is we hold hands below the table, and every time I do this, it's a yes, and this is a no. And that worked pretty well, except for one question, which was a little bit open, but we also managed that one. So in the end, it worked out. And paperwork is, so we essentially, Germany needs a proof that she is ready to marry, which means she is not married yet, which then again means we need the Koseki Tohon, the family register from Japan, which thankfully her mother could get and send. And then we need to get that translated by an official translator, which is like 300 euros or something like that. And thankfully in Munich there was one, so we got that. And then with that we could marry in Germany. And then when we went to Japan, we also had to translate again, because of course we were registered there, but not here. But this translation we could do, I think, we could do, could we? Probably, we could do ourselves. So could just write married here and then hand it in, and it worked. And now we're registered in both countries. Yes, and then again, so when my first child was born, we want to register at the German authorities again, and we had to find somebody to translate and send it to somebody in Gunma somewhere, and pay again. So German was harder; they are more strict in that case. Game Master Saga, I'm glad you're still making videos. I have been watching you for a while, and that sounds creepy. I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know when exactly you made the comment, but okay. Japanese houses are not an investment as in the West. Yes, in Japan only the land is valuable. Exactly. So that's the point essentially. So you get something valuable out of it in the end, but probably if you just save the money or invested it in stocks or something, assuming it would rise at like 5% or whatever the market rises, then on average, then you would have more in the end. But still, you would have to live somewhere, so you have to decide again. Are there many Japanese foods and drinks with hidden sugar? Are you finding it hard to go sugar-free? Yeah, I think so. There are quite some. I mean, hidden sugar. I mean, I can tell, of course, it's sweet, and then there are things like chips and so on, or crisps, wherever you're from, and which probably have sugar to some extent and so on. But I stopped. The good thing about going away from eating sugared things is essentially I stopped snacking. So usually I eat 3 times, and before then I ate in the evening or something, which isn't too great when it's too close to getting to sleep. So it helps also with kind of maintaining a healthy level of body fat if somebody's into that. And it's not, I mean, I'm not super strict with sugar now. So if it's really a little bit or so, I don't really care. But generally, anything that's sweet, any candy, any cake or something, I don't eat. I do eat fruits again now. So I started again on Christmas Eve. And I ate 3 strawberries, which was great. So every morning now I eat a bowl of fruits, actually. Can we appreciate how amazing your English is? Thanks, Kevin. Koshiro Koso, same for you. But that makes sense, that what you said about Japanese. I was kind of the same before I moved to England, although I knew a little bit more English. Also, the other day, I realized that we've known each other for almost 3 years. What the F? Laughing my ass. LMAO, the cheating. Yeah, I mean... is it 3 years? I think we know each other since the beginning of 2017, right? It's 4 years then. isn't it? And English, yeah, for me it was also, I had the school level English, and I was kind of on the upper half of the class usually, but I wasn't really confident in speaking. It's like a little bit of like the JLPT. You learn how to write and so on, and kind of speaking in a classroom environment even, but then going out there to speaking to real people. And also I found it always harder to speak to British people than to foreigners for some reason. So that made it kind of hard. And then I went to a project when how old was I? 24. And the project leader was American. And then I think I got pretty confident in my English. And I even thought like, hey, I spent like with 1.5 years with this American guy, it must be like on a native level now. And then I went somewhere else, I think to Barcelona, and talked to a Canadian guy. And after one sentence, he said, "You must be German." And I, fuck it. Sorry for the swearing, for the cursing. So yeah, didn't work out that well. And then in the beginning of my videos, you see me talking pretty slowly because I'm very conscious of what I say and how I pronounce it and so on. And then after some time, I still got comments like, "Hey, can you say I'll be back," or get to the top or something like that? And then I just stopped caring. How did you meet your wifey, and what was your proposal story? We met at Aikido, actually. So we both practice this martial art, or practiced. She doesn't do it actively anymore. And we met in Japan in 2009 when I came for the first time, and also to practice Aikido. And there was a seminar not too far from here in the Alps, in the mountains, Nagano Prefecture. And she also came for 2 days or so, or 3. She lived in Nagano back then because it's where family is. And yeah, I mean, that's where we met each other first, but we didn't really talk, so we didn't get to know each other. And then 4 years later, she came to a seminar in Germany, same teacher, also Aikido again. And then we got to know each other. And then the year after, I visited her a couple of times, actually. And then she came to Germany, proposed, and we married, and then moved to Japan, married again. I mean, ceremony. So one side of the family, other side. Was expensive. And the propose was, I don't know what I said, but I took a friend to another friend, went with him to another friend, actually a friend of my parents, who is a goldsmith, ring maker, essentially. And got a 1,000 euro ring. I don't know if I ever told my wife how much it was. It was like it was 1,400, but I got it for 1,000. Hey Nico, nice to have you here, and also congratulations to 500 followers on Instagram. I'm just talking about how I proposed to my wife. あなたの英語はとても上手です。が。それでもドイツ語のアクセントがあります。だと思います。そうだと思いますけど。Back to the story. So, proposal. So I got the ring. It was white gold and diamonds all around, because the idea is if you have a big diamond on one side, then it's always moving and she always has to put it back and so on. So actually I got that one and made a plan like, okay, how can I do that? How can I essentially wear a suit but make it not too suspicious? And then one day, a friend of us, who's also Japanese, had a concert, taiko, a drum concert, and we wanted to go there. So I said, okay, nice, now I can do like at least the jacket. And I had I thought, okay, let's propose. Before we go, let's propose. And so we had a little bit of time. I thought, perfect. But for some reason, she started to vacuum the house. I was like, okay, what should I do now? Just wait. And then once she was done, essentially I proposed. Made like an introduction, like, love and all that. Got on my knees and then opened the thing. Often you see like this, but this was like this, and then like this. Oh, wrong one. Like this. And that's the story, essentially. Yeah. Then she almost started crying, but I cried because, and then she stopped. Anyway, that was the story. And then we went to see the concert. But we didn't tell this friend back then. Like my best friend, whom I went to the goldsmith with, he knew obviously, but the other people didn't. So I think the next one were my family, parents, and so on went there. It's also pretty emotional, and my granddad. And then we went to a seminar in the end of October, where actually my wife and I both got graduated. And then in the evening before the graduation, we told our teacher, and in front of everybody. So essentially, I put like the big whiskey bottle on the table and then refilled essentially and said, we will get married and we want to invite him, which he accepted actually, but then he didn't come. But it's a different story. That sounds better. It sounds worse than it was. So that was the story. And then everybody knew. Okay. Now, moment with Nick. Did you meet your wife after you came here? Sorry if you already answered this. Just tuned in. Yes. No. Yes. I met her here and then again in Germany. And from there it developed. I wake up and see a live chat. Ohio, Daniel. Good to have you here again. Translating documents officially is so expensive. It's like $50 per page, even if sometimes are able to translate yourself. Yes, you are. Okay, you. Exactly. Like they just want to make sure. And often it's like always the same and they just fill in the names or something, like for the standard documents. Yeah, maybe 4 years, Kevin. Still a very noticeable German accent. Yeah, well. All right, then you gotta head back to work. Nice catching you live. Okay, Kevin, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Your English is very good, but still has a German accent. Ah, okay, yeah. That's what Aminok said. Yes. Yes. Okay, now I'm caught up with the messages again. Do you use a calendar to schedule your YouTube video shoots? No, usually not, because it's kind of, I have to fit them in wherever it works out. So sometimes, for example, I can send my wife and family to my mother-in-law, then I can go somewhere. So it's hard to schedule. So of course, if I would do that full time, then I would make a calendar and so on, and probably try to do it like one video a week, maybe. So usually it's like maybe half a day script and research, at least 1 day shooting, 3 day editing, and half a day preparing for upload, like thumbnail and research and so on. Ideally, so might be doable in a week. Depends on the topic, of course. How are you and your family? Good. Thank you, Dreamy Senpai. So far, so good. So my kids got a little sick, but now it's looking good again. So today, the other one went to the kindergarten again for the first time, thankfully. So yeah. Also, this one's fresh. So since we moved, it was tough. So his kindergarten started, then he went there for 4 days, and then he got sick for a week, and went again today. So it's a little bit hard. 1, because he's joining in the middle of the year. 2, because he's different, right? Because he's a half, so not 100% Japanese. And 3, then he joined for 4 days and then he was gone again, unfortunately. So I hope he will, like, he's a more outgoing person than I am, so probably it will be fine, hopefully. Yeah, parents, they always get like, when something is with the kids, we get concerned. Some of your pronunciations are still unusual. I've never heard someone say ancient. Yeah, I mix up like anxiety and ancient. Maybe that's closer, right? And I realized it in post, like, okay. No, but no, it's the way it is, unfortunately. Let's test your English. Say squirrel, please. Yeah, for some reason that's something Germans cannot say, squirrel. And that's probably because of the R, because it's hard for us. So even though I think it's not super bad, I know it doesn't sound 100% right. Hello, Shahazar. Good to have you here again. Did you leave? Why did you leave? But good to have you, yeah. Say this thistle. I don't even know what thistle means. Thistle or thistle? I'm not sure. That's it. Ah, okay, I see. It's distal in German. That's not so far. Do I still have to say something, or is it good? How's the weather there? We got a snowstorm last night. Ooh. Here, no snow anymore, unfortunately. Not super cold. I think the weather is like between 0 and 10 or so on average. But I like snow. I don't like rain. Now it's 8 degrees. Tomorrow it's supposed to be between 7 and -4. But on Friday it's supposed to snow between 1 and -8. So thankfully, hopefully, we'll have a little bit more. Sounds like thistle. Okay, I see. You look good with the specs. Thank you. Yeah, I have them I got them when pretty soon after moving here in April 2017. And 4 days after I got them, I stepped onto them, which was not doing them any favor. And already then the what's the guy who sells these, optician maybe, fixed it and said like, yeah, it's and this happened like 1 or 2 more times, and every time he's like, it's almost broken, but as long as it doesn't fall apart, I don't care. But the nice thing about these ones is they have a blue cut, so the blue light is like reduced by a pretty significant amount, which then helps me to sit in front of the computer all day. However, when I color grade, this means I don't see the blue as much, so it might get more blue than it should be. Funniest accent test is to have an Irish person say 1/3, they say 1/3. I guess it could also work with Indians. 1/3. I've never been to Ireland, by the way, but I really like the English, like Great Britain, the island. As a tourist, that is. I don't know how it would be to live there. After midnight here, so bed is calling good night to you and everyone. Okay, John, I'm glad today it worked out better than last time. And then once daylight savings time changes again, hopefully we can have a lot longer overlap. So have a good night. Thank you. Ruan says, hi Johannes, are you planning on making any more videos on software development in Japan? Not right now, because I get a lot of questions in this direction. That's actually not what I think this channel is about. So I get a lot of, especially in the beginning. So the first video in this direction of finding a job in Japan was how to get a visa. And then I got so many people messaging me on Instagram, especially on Instagram. Some just say hi. For some reason, they don't say what they want, and I don't answer. And many people ask me about things that they can just Google. So, like, essentially, I don't have the qualifications. I haven't studied or something, but I want to go to Japan. So then I tried to answer all these questions in the second video. And it went down, but still there were some questions. And there was one question where I did a Q&A, so I titled it accordingly, like, how can you come to Japan without a university degree when you're American? Because that was the question. And I still get some questions there. And then I also did like the specific one for software engineers, because that's where my expertise is, and that's essentially a video I can make from the top of my head because I know everything. It's because it's my bread and butter, essentially. That's why I did it. But I think, I don't know if I can provide any more value in like to a general audience. Of course, I can go specific to what I do, or like my specialization is mobile applications. So I can go specific there, but then the audience gets too defined on like this niche, and that's not actually what it's about in this channel. It's more about Japan, experiencing Japan, or bringing Japan closer to you, and not the visa like this. Some people even say like, hey, can you invite me, send me a letter of invitation? But actually a letter of invitation means I not only say I invite you, but I also guarantee for you, which means I send essentially you my salary statement, and that's not going to happen to somebody I've never met. Okay, yeah, 1/3. No, I don't think so. Indians can speak better English. I see. Yeah, I got the. Anyway, okay. I've been to Dublin. I prefer London. My brother lives there. Sorry, Ireland. Okay. With clear pronunciation, says Shahzad Irshad. Indians are the biggest English-speaking community, so basically everybody else speaks bad English. Okay, I mean everybody. It's like English is so common. It's probably fair to say even there's a German English or something when you would say there's an British English, American English, Indian English, and so on, Australian English, Japanese English. I don't know. Recently, my wife told me, what was it? What was that? Some French word, and I was like, I totally didn't get it until she showed me how it's actually written, and I was like, what? That's totally different how you would probably pronounce it from my understanding of French, which is very little. So that was fun. What was that? I think. I don't remember. Okay, let's continue. What's your most favorite thing about Nagano? I think the mountains. So I still remember vividly when I came here once in 2017 after I think I had an interview in Tokyo, and I came back in the evening. Tokyo was pretty humid. Maybe it was summer and I had to wear a suit or something. And then I went on the train at night, came back, left the station, and then it was like, wow, what a difference in air between Tokyo and Nagano. And then I look around and see mountains everywhere. That's like amazing. And then, of course, especially now, it's like Nagano has way less people, much more space and all that. I like that a lot as well. And also, I grew up until I was 10 on a mountain, like about 1,000-meter height, so not like Mount Everest, but still on some height. So I kind of have a connection to that. So I like it. Dreamy Senpai says, I'm Indian, I say third. Okay, I see. Maybe it depends on the region. I don't know. Do you go to shrines throughout the year or only during special occasions? Oh, yeah, I go throughout the year. For example, there's a shrine not too far from here, and I just went, when was that? I think on Sunday, when playing with my older one. So there's usually often, so in Japan, in Europe, usually if you have a church, then it's like kind of a sacred place and you don't have children playing or running around. In Japan, the area around the shrine is protected by the god that lives there. So it's actually a good thing to have some kind of playground or so there, because the children, of course, then are in this safe space. So there's like a slide, and then sometimes you get like other things. Yeah. So we went there actually, because he wanted to catch some insects, but I don't like that, so we didn't. But at least we went there, and yeah. So yeah, sometimes I go, but usually it's not like super big shrines and there are lots of people. There's never anybody there. So when I go there, then I do it like properly with going there and doing like the praying and so on. And you misspell my name. Yeah, I'm an Oxshaza. Happens, I guess. Happens. Probably I also mispronounce both of your names. Okay, Dreamy Senpai, was nice to see you. Right, see your text too. Thank you for joining, as always. Take care. Do you feel racism in Japan? It's a tough one. I'm not sure. Personally, I feel differentiation, but not with a negative intent necessarily. I'm not sure if I ever experienced that. It's also hard to tell if something negative happens to me, if that's because I'm a foreigner. One time I had the feeling, yeah, but I never talk about it. And yeah, but generally, I feel people are, at least in what they show, they are not racist. Yeah, or not not maliciously. Maybe I don't know. Depends on your definition of racism, I think. Usually, what racism would be, you put your own or some race above another, right? And I don't think that happens, at least not intentionally. In a majority of cases, of course, there's always some black sheep, and yeah. I know you're busy. Do you have any thoughts about what next video topic might be? Yes, day in my life in Japan. And funny enough, this takes longer than a day to shoot because essentially I have a couple of options. Either I do it in one day, really, but the shooting, because I don't want to just like tell you, okay, now I'm doing this and that and that and that's it. I want to show you what I'm doing, so I need a lot of angles and so on, and change the camera. And also, now I decided to not talk, but maybe do a voice overlay or so, because usually in my day in Japan, I don't talk to cameras or something. So doing all that takes so much time that if, for example, I would do it on a work day, it wouldn't work because I have to work. So either I do it on a weekend or I do it like over several days, funny enough. And then after that, I mentioned in the beginning of the live stream, so I have a couple of topics planned all around the region here, like going to a town here and taste some sake. There's a lot of things to do there, actually. So I mentioned it before. No, I didn't mention it. Did I? Maybe. So there's Hokusai, which was a very famous Japanese artist. You might know the Big Wave. With this, if you Google Japanese picture or painting, or actually it's not a painting, it's a print, then probably this will come up. It's this famous waves, and there's Mount Fuji in between. He did that, and he came here in his 80s and made a couple for 4 or 5 years, and in this town. And so there's a museum. That's something. Then they have specialities, which are chestnuts, and also very interesting. They have something like if a private house has some sign in the front saying open garden, something like that, then you can get inside their garden and see how it looks there. So that's pretty interesting, I think. And then they have a lot of sake. So I want to drink sake and maybe show you around a sake brewery, and they have like a lot of variations and so on, and then see what's best. That's another one I'm planning. Then also there's Nagano. It has also a Wagyu brand, and I want to show you that and see how it tastes. Actually, I tested before, but I never had like a A5 steak or something like that. And then a little bit more food videos, 2 more. Then I want, if possible, I want to do an igloo experience. So in the town, in another city not too far from here, called Iyama, there's this experience. Essentially, they make igloos, and then you can have dinner there, and then stay in a ryokan, Japanese hotel. That's something I want to do with another YouTuber from the area. And then there's the snow monkey experience, meaning showing you the snow monkeys, which is also not too far from here. But for that, I need snow again, and I need kind of safe environment when it comes to Corona, or I need to go there by car. But I heard it's not super accessible. That's why I have in stock on my notes here. So usually what I try to do now is make a title and an idea for a thumbnail before I even start the video, so that I kind of not do it the other way around, because usually the process of making the video, especially editing, takes a lot of energy. And if I then invest that little bit of energy I have left into the title and thumbnail, then usually I think it's not good enough, or I don't invest it as much as I should. That's why I do it first now. Yes. The Great Wave. Yes, exactly. Mentioned it already in the last live stream. Do people still play Pokemon Go in Japan? I think so. Don't see them so much here, but in Yokohama, sometimes I saw whenever I saw a lot of people with their phones out standing close together, then I look and like, oh yeah, Pokemon Go. So last year, or even maybe middle of last year or so, they still did it. And then when Corona hit the second wave or so, then it kind of went away, I think. Or at least, yeah. I mean, probably Corona isn't too helpful with that. I remember, so 2016, I mentioned before, so we went on this round trip, me and 2 friends, and Pokemon Go was not yet released in Japan, but then it was released during the trip. And we were in Ueno Park. That's in Tokyo. There's Ueno Station, and then there's Ueno Park. And there's a pond next to Ueno Park. And there were lots of people. So we thought, oh, nice, maybe there's like a Matsuri, a festival, and we can get some food or something, like some skewers. We went there. No, Pokemon. Everybody was playing Pokemon. Yeah, that was my first experience and the most memorable one. Oh, Dreamy Senpai is back. Nice to have you back. That was quick. When was it? Doesn't tell the timestamp. Not too far ago. Yeah, so if you want to say anything, any questions, any suggestions, or any story you want to share, how your day is going and so on, please feel invited. Skip class. Oh no, I hope it wasn't an important one. Any favorite type of sake? No, because actually I don't know sake a lot, so I don't have the experience or knowledge to differentiate. It's just like, oh yeah, this one tastes nice, but I don't even know any brands. So I have a favorite shochu, but not sake. Do you think the lockdown in Japan will be lifted by February 9th? Not sure. I feel like it's not appropriate to lift it, but I also feel like they might do it anyway. Yeah, I haven't checked the numbers actually in a couple of days, but the last time it was still not at it was still too much. So let me see how it is now. Went down a little bit in the last days, but still on the 25th, yesterday was 4,100. And the all-time high was like 7,800 or so. So yeah, went a little bit down, which was like 2 weeks ago. Went down a little bit, but yeah, I can't really tell because on Monday it always goes down. So maybe if we see today's numbers, it will be up again. So I'm not sure. And again, I don't think it's a great idea. I think the numbers in Tokyo went down a little bit recently, back to around 1,000, but still. Actually, the area where I lived in Yokohama is, I think, the ward of Yokohama is now the one with the most new infections. If you have a chance to go to a different country now, which country will you choose? Germany. Because I haven't been there for like 16 months or so. And I would love to see my family again. And outside of Germany, probably Italy or France, because I want to take my wife there. So she wants to go to France because of Disneyland. Can you believe it? and I want to take her to Italy because I hope she would like it there because I do. Japanese schools are open or not? They are open. And then usually if there's a corona case, they will be closed or something like that. So even though I think even in Tokyo, even though there's a not lockdown, but state of emergency, schools are open. And also it's like, it's even softer than the previous state of emergency. So it's like, as far as I know, I don't know if they changed it now, but it's like the businesses should close by 8 p.m. Not the businesses, the bars and so on, entertainment. It's like, yeah, okay. Not super strict. And then offices should be only 30% of their capacity. And things like that. By the way, what about new videos? I'm waiting for more mysterious videos. Mysterious? Can you tell me what you mean? Or have you seen any mysterious video made by me? Because I don't think I ever did any of that intentionally. Hey man, Madman, good to have you here again. Yeah, Madman is here. Mysterious videos. Mysterious. Do you mean with? Yeah, what could be mysterious? I mean, of course, could do something like abandoned buildings or something. This is a mysterious live stream. He's in disguise wearing glasses. Yes. Because I'm here to educate you, and this gives me more power. Yeah, so could do something like abandoned houses or something. Of course, because there are some not necessarily something I would love to do, because it's still trespassing, even if you can get in there easily, and that's punishable even by jail. So in theory, could happen. So I would rather not do that. And other things, of course, they're like creepy things or like, tunnels. Where did I do that? When I went to Obuse, this town not so far from here, by bike, I saw actually a tunnel which was like just next to the road, and I don't know why it's not used anymore, but I guess too many accidents or something. And this happens also every now and then. But then again, it's just a tunnel. So when I see videos like that, I sometimes feel like it's a little bit too much trying to make it more creepy than it actually is. That being said, of course, I haven't been there, so it might have actually be. For example, point. Do you say point in case or case in point? Case in point. Point in case. Against me, when Chris Broad from the Abroad in the Japan channel went to the abandoned love hotel recently, also in Nagano, this definitely is not a fun place. It's actually, yeah, I haven't been there, but I was, as far as I know, it's one of the really unpleasant places you could go to, because apparently there have been some murders there and so on. So not really great. I mean, like checking out a 1,500-year-old tomb is kind of mysterious, right? Okay, I see. Yeah. It was also what was, like, as I said in the video, wasn't too pleasant to be inside. And yeah, for the thumbnails you've seen, there was another one actually, but I didn't include it in the video. And what else could there be? For example, in Zenkoji, the big temple here, there's an underground passage. So the thing about Zenkoji is it contains the first ever sculpture of Buddha to arrive in mainland Japan in 538 or 68, something like that. And it's never shown to anybody. The last time it was shown was to some shogun, not to some shogun, but a shogun ordered it to be opened, wherever it's stored, to be assured that it's actually there. So this was the last time, a couple of 100 years ago. And since then it's locked away. But there's a path, pitch black, below the temple, And just below this statue is some kind of ledger, something to touch, and if you touch that, apparently, or that's how it is, the legend is, if you touch that, then you essentially unlock the potential to achieve enlightenment or something like that. I think it was. That being said, I'm not allowed to film there, and also it's pitch black, so it wouldn't be too interesting, I guess. Yeah. What else could we do? If you have ideas, more precise, not just mysterious, but something like this, then let me know. What are your top Japanese food recommendations to try when first coming to Japan? Depends what you're into. So when I went here first, I think anything was good because I didn't know it and I couldn't tell if it was good or not. Except for this one place in Tokyo. So I thought everything in Japan is great. And then I went there and thought, okay, not everything, which was like a self-service fried stuff thing. Yeah. So like korokke, which is like mashed potatoes in breadcrumbs and then deep fried. Was not a recommendation. And so that was when I first was here. And then depends on what you like. If you like sushi, go to sushi. Maybe try a little bit of not the conveyor belt sushi for like 100 yen, but maybe try the one for 500 yen because that's already amazing. Probably, depending on where you are. But if you're not close to the sea or if there's not a sushi culture, then chances are it will be great. Ramen, of course, if you like it, again, depends. Wagyu is something that's fantastic, I think, and you should try that, and it should be a good one. You shouldn't cut expenses in that regard, so do it just once, but get a really good one. Check it on Google. If it has like 4.8, 4.9 stars, then you should go there, and should be A5, and then enjoy that. Yeah, so I think actually Wagyu is what will make you wow the most. And then so because it's from your usual beef steak and Wagyu it's not apples to apples when you compare it. So it's kind of a different category actually. And there are a couple of things here. For example, they have Shine Muscat grapes, which are pretty big, and taste totally different from what I knew or expected grapes to taste. And they also have this for strawberries, maybe also for melons, but I don't know yet, and so on. So there are a couple of things that can change your perspective on how food should taste. Tell us about your health. So far, so good. Feel a little bit stressed today. That's why I'm doing this live stream actually, to get some to distract me, get some new thoughts, get a little bit of distance from the stress. The unfortunate reality is that you need to do casual and fun videos like biggest okonomiyaki in Nagano or something. Serious videos aren't always as popular. Yeah, I mean, I like doing fun stuff. That being said, I don't actually know. So German humor doesn't necessarily match with non-German humor, I guess, or American or whatever. Most people come from America for my channel. So sometimes people say, that was so funny, and I have no idea why. And sometimes people say, hey, that doesn't really go well with American humor, English-speaking humor. So it's a little bit hard for me to tell. And obviously, I'm not the type of guy who does like this, over-the-top thing actually in the video. But yeah, the title, I think, a little bit of clickbait, as long as you deliver, is okay. That's my stance. And I want to essentially define my niche as Central Japan specific, focus on bringing you anything that's here. So in the especially beginning last year, it was a lot of me in my room, but I got bored of this kind of content, and I also think it's not the most entertaining. And also from a creator's perspective on how to improve on making videos, it doesn't offer so much. So I want to more get out, explore, and share that, even though it might not be super popular. But of course, you can always help me by sharing my content and interacting with the videos and so on. How much money approximately would we have with us when coming to Japan? I mean, how much money would you have to have with you when coming to Japan? That depends, of course, if you're coming here to live here or not. So if you're coming as a tourist, it depends. When I came here for the first time, I had maybe 2,000 euros or so for a 16-day trip, which was sufficient for me. That being said, I was a student. And with this 2,000 euros, I paid, I think, the training, the seminar. So I went to a seminar and the ryokan for 1 week or 8 days or something. So traditional Japanese hotel. But I didn't pay the business hotel, which we stayed in Tokyo. And then, of course, like restaurants and going out and all that stuff. Maybe, I think also Shinkansen tickets and so were also paid by that. It's been a while, so I don't completely remember. But that was what was a very comfortable budget for me. And also was kind of the first time for me traveling alone. I went on my 22nd birthday, and it was the first time for me traveling alone, or not with my family, and having enough money. So this was a great experience. Reminds me that I explained to my brother that Wagyu means Japanese beef, and he would say, I want Japanese Wagyu beef. Japanese beef. Several times over our Japan trip. Did he do that intentionally? Subka Daddy says, hello, I'm Anuj. Nice to have you here, Anuj. I'm trying to remember it, but please, I'm not good with names, so if I forget, please forgive me. Good to have you here. Japanese beef. Yeah, hopefully I can do the Wagyu when I want to make the video about Wagyu in Japan. Hopefully I can go with my wife. Then she will hold the camera or something, because she doesn't want to get in front of it. Well, actually, I took a video once, which I didn't publish because the audio didn't work right, where I took a quick picture of, I swiped to her quickly. She was driving and she was actually wearing sunglasses and a mask, so we probably couldn't identify a lot, but that would be like her cameo, but it didn't actually make it. Maybe I will share it on Patreon one day, like Patreon exclusive, revealing my wife, or my wife revealed, or something like that. By the way, I made some Japanese friends using HelloTalk. At first, it was kind of unbelievable at how kind Japanese people are. Yeah. So another video I'm considering to make, because it would be inside again, is, and it's a little bit of a clickbaity title, is called Living in Japan Sucks. And it goes in this direction of, that's not what I think, but quite some foreigners get this experience or impression after some time living here, because when you first come here, you get this one side of the coin, tatemae, so this friendly face, this act of everything is fine and Japan is perfect. And if you come here then with this experience from maybe being a tourist or so, and then it's like that for the first weeks or so, but then of course it changes over time, and you see what's really behind that. The people are just people, and then also the expectations in yourself change a bit. Like, you've been here for some time, people expect you to know a little bit better and all that, and based on that, then people might get frustrated and think Japan is not worth living in, or it sucks or whatever, because of course the expectation is not reality, or it's not met. Reality does not meet their initial expectation, and then if they are not flexible and not willing maybe to give up their own culture to the extent that they can adapt to the Japanese culture for the biggest part, then it will certainly not be fun. Yes, that's about kind Japanese people. Yeah, and then yes, and there's also a couple of cultural concepts don't exist in many other cultures, like for example Germany, like for example being in somebody's debt because somebody did something for you. like opening the door. Or it's a little bit, I don't know how actually accurate that still is, because it's been a little bit of a study that has been made some decades ago. But it was also one explanation why there are not so many people coming to help somebody when there's an accident. Because if they do that as non-professionals or so, they would put a burden on the person, because they would essentially make them have a debt to them because they helped, if that makes sense. Now, I digress. If you have a job lined up, you need to be able to pay for an apartment. You may not get a paycheck for a month. That can be like 3 to 5 times your monthly rent. Yeah, maybe even more. So you usually, when you move here, you pay in advance. So that's at least 1 month. Then you pay the agent, which is a month. Then you pay key money. It might be a month, maybe 2. I forgot. Then you might have to pay, depending on if your employer does it or not, you might have to pay a guarantor, which might be a separate company. For me, the first time it was 80% of one rent. So let's count it also as one. And you have cleaning money, and then it adds up. It adds up. And then probably you also need to get your stuff here if you have anything. I didn't. I just came with like 2 suitcases. Have you ever met any Indian in Japan? Yeah, of course, all the time. There are many Indians, also in my company, many Indians work there. And then there's also a couple of Indian restaurants, some better than others, of course, and usually also Indians working there. So they decided to go this route. And do you have any Indian friends? I definitely, it's hard to, let me think. So in Japan, I wouldn't say necessarily friends, but definitely closer colleagues. And outside of Japan, or generally Indian friends, let me think. In the past, when I was younger, I had, but I think I had lost contacts on now. I have usually had about $100 per day of money to spend after hotels, Airbus flights. Yeah, I think that's a good budget. So that really gives you because you can get food for like $10 or euros, 8,000 yen. And you don't have to pay for drinks if you drink water, tea, or whatever they serve you. So you can get a sufficient food for 1,000 yen. And then if you do that twice a day, and then you have 80 euros for like a really for the Wagyu and for the expensive sushi or something. Or if you do that for like 3 times in one day, 2 times the other day, then you have, oh my God, 160 euros to spend, to burn. I've heard of instances of people being sued for helping other people in Japan and becoming liable for the injury that they involved themselves in. Okay, I haven't heard that, but I mean, yeah, that's another thing. Okay, that's tough though. I mean, of course, if they are not proficient, and let's say somebody has broken their spine and then moved them in a way, or the hip or whatever, they moved them in a way that injures them more, then yeah, okay. But yeah, still, it's a little bit sad. I remember when in Germany, when I was graduating high school, then you had to go to the army or do 9 months of social service, and I did the latter. And during the training for that, I think we also had like first aid. And the guy who was a professional said he was actually sued one time because he was taking first aid for a lady who was unconscious, and he doing like the pressing on the, what's it called, sternum, and I think he cracked a couple of ribs, which happens frequently. And then she sued him. Yeah, I mean, of course she didn't win, and the judge was very judgmental of her. And like, what's she thinking? But still, I imagine it's a lot of stress, and it's like makes you question what you're doing and so on. So Yes. Okay. Yes, I'm caught up. Excellent. Then it's already been 1:20. So let's say we do 10 more minutes until about 11 here, 11:02 maybe, and then call it a day for today. Again, the issue also the last time in this room is because it's cold outside, I switch on the air conditioner and then it gets dry and it gets harder for me to speak because my mouth also dries up over time when I'm speaking. And I'm out of water again. By the way, it would be interesting to hear why everybody of you is here. So essentially, I guess you're interested in Japan, but why are you interested in Japan? That would be great. It would be great to hear where you're coming from, essentially. I mean, not the location, but, your interest and so on. Your kids ever disturb you when you're making videos? Yeah, of course. If they're here, they do, yeah. But it's fun. But sometimes, for example, over there is a light and then a mic stand standing upright. And then over the light stand, I put my yoga mat so that it stops the light from leaking too much over there, this direction. And if my son sees the light stand, he wants to push it and throw it down because it's so fun. So that happens. So I have to take care of the gear every now and again. Wife comes from Japan. Oh, nice. That's why you also have some Japanese knowledge. My reason: first, Japanese culture; second, language, sexiest language in the world; and third, Japanese people. Okay. I see. Yeah, for my reasons. So first, how I got into this, as I mentioned before, Aikido, so martial arts. But I must say, I came for Aikido to Japan, and I would have come again, but I wouldn't have stayed. Probably I would have done like 3 months with it, which is the standard tourist visa. Germans can even actually extend that another 3 months. Then would be half a year. But I think 3 months is what I would have done. Like essentially train every day, and that's it. But actually, why I came is, of course, my wife. So I think without her, I wouldn't be here. At least not for that long. Might have extended it a little bit, but eventually my experience is that the people that come only for Aikido or martial art or anything, they will go back eventually. I have been interested in the culture and language for over 10 years. I moved past anime years ago. Even knowing the pros and cons compared to the US, I think it's interesting. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's an infinite amount to learn here. Because, of course, also the Japanese culture changes all the time, so you will never know everything, obviously. Following you from Egypt. Love your videos. Wow. Thank you so much. I can't read your name, unfortunately, but I'm glad you're here. What's your family's opinion about your YouTube account? So the German family, I think they celebrate it essentially. So if they realize there's a live stream, they often put it on this big screen in the living room and watch it together to like a family live stream session. And sometimes you see them even in the chat. Sometimes you see them in the comments. And yeah, they like it. I think one thing they once said is, if you would focus on a different topic that's not as niche as Japan or where there's more money, then you could do this professionally. Yeah, maybe. But I don't have the time to experiment like that. And my family in Japan, I think it's also okay. So it's kind of common in Japan to have like a hobby you focus on a lot. So it's like that. For example, my wife likes sewing. and usually when I'm doing this, then she's doing that. So it's kind of okay. But whenever I dream about maybe going to a full-time direction with this here, then she's looking at me funny. So that's about my family. And actually my mom is so excited about it, so she shares with anybody, and especially in the beginning when I wasn't so confident in my content, she was still like, yeah, and I was a little bit like, oh, okay, yes, it's true. I know it's so hard to be a YouTuber. I tried for 2 months, then I stopped and will never do it. What kind of things did you do to motivate yourself? I don't really know. So I started, the first video got like no views, of course. Then I tried to promote it a little bit, and what I did is I cut the video down, the essentials in GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce it, like animated pictures, and then uploaded that to a platform called Imager. And that went viral to the front page. And from there, because I linked it like this, the source, I got 18 subscribers and like 200 views maybe, which is pretty good for the first video ever. And from there, it was like, yeah, okay, good. Now let's repeat this, and in half a year, I'll be at 10,000 subscribers. Obviously, it didn't work out that fast, but essentially this, putting out content that people want to see and getting to gaining new subscribers and all that was motivation. And now it's still nice to get more people, but it doesn't matter so much to me anymore because I'm maybe disillusioned. But I still like taking good video and making good edit and all that. So I think that's it. Then of course, if it would be something like it would work and there was a bigger financial incentive, then that would be another thing. Might take the fun out of it a little bit, at least when I have to struggle a lot. But yeah, that's probably it. And yeah, of course, in 2 months, it's you might get a taste, but not really become independent or anything. Suing, not suing. Thank you. What JLPT test did you pass? None. Never took any. Every now and then I'm thinking about it, but I never did any. So yeah, so far it would have not been beneficial to me, I think. But maybe one day if I go searching for a job again, it would make sense to have one. Maybe even not, because these days, usually, not every day, but at least every week, I get a contact from a headhunter. So probably fine. Except though, if I want to switch to a Japanese environment intentionally to then be in a Japanese environment to improve my Japanese, that would be the only reason maybe for me right now. In regards to the content here, I think it's good potential to be big enough to earn you an income. It's not such an easy thing. I think your personality and quality seems to be good enough to get bigger. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I had a chat with another big YouTuber here. He also said people who is actually doing it full time. And he also said people don't realize actually how hard it is to build a channel around Japan-based content. Yeah. So probably if I did something like gear, or how to make YouTube videos or something, what I'm doing actually, the thing I'm doing, making YouTube videos, then it would be way easier. So I heard of like one guy said his numbers. He said when he was about my size, like 20,000, not yet, but around 20,000, he made like $4,000 or so a month, which is unheard of for my niche, I think. And the thing is, if you make videos about gear, it's much easier to have a link for what you're talking about in your description and then earn a commission on that. And for me, I also have links to my gear in the description usually, but nobody clicks on that. They don't come for that. I guess if I would make a course like something like Learn Japanese with me or Kanji 101 or something like that, then I could sell a couple of that. But I don't think I think they're better resources than me. I like Japan's imperial history, like samurai stuff. I also like anime and manga, and I can't wait to try on the traditional clothing like kimonos. I actually I started to make a history of, history of the samurai video, but it was essentially so close to Japanese history itself that I stopped it, because when you do anything with history and Japan in the title, then you immediately get people commenting you're copying history of Japan. This is one very popular video with like 100 million views by Bill Woods. I don't know how to pronounce correctly. And then everybody's comparing to that, and it's so entertaining and such a great video that everybody says like, you're copying him and you're worse. Yeah, so that's not a great motivation. So I did a longer video about Kyoto, everything you need to know about Kyoto, about a year ago, and then I extracted the part about history and called it Kyoto's history or history of Kyoto or something, and then immediately these comments came. Johannes is the only YouTuber who replies to every comment and reads all live chats. Actually, I don't reply to every comment, but I read all the live chats because I can still. So if we were 100 people, not 10 right now, then probably it would be harder. But thank you for the kind words. So usually I reply to comments that are not just hi or something, or even then maybe. And then if the video gets older, then I might not reply or so. And then, of course, if it comes to the point where I get so many comments that I can't follow, then probably it's not feasible anymore. If I get like 1,000 comments on a video, now usually it's like 50 or less, so it's doable. My brother-in-law does YouTube for auto repair. That helped him get bigger because people watch videos to help them save money on doing their own car repair. Oh, I see. I think you mentioned it before, but does he do that professionally now? Or also like me on the side? What's the time now? It is 11:03. Actually, I wanted to stop already, but First Lady Natasha seems to have just joined. Konnichiwa, konbanwa, Natasha. Good to have you here. The fact that someone else has done something before shouldn't stop you from doing it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I understand that. It's also like, it's actually just an excuse. You're always going to be different. Imagine if no one covered a topic someone else had done. There'd be nothing. Yes. Hello, everyone here. Good to see a vlog about my country. Oh, you are from Japan. Right? Yeah, good to have you here. Nice. He earns a good amount of money on his channel, 550k subs as auto repair shop. Oh, shop. They do pretty well. Okay, that sounds nice. Yeah, I like that. If you have something like essentially you support the business locally, but also grow your audience globally, both by doing YouTube, that's pretty nice. Not sure how I could do that. Because also my target audience is, of course, more tourists than locals. So I would have to have like a souvenir shop or something like that. Or maybe Japanese experiences, like sword cutting or something like that. People do Amazon Associates or other streams of income, not just YouTube monetization. Yes, I also do Amazon Associates. But as I mentioned, the incentive usually isn't that high if I link my gear or something. Another thing would be, of course, saying what I had some time ago was like the Japanese learners kit, like the classics, Genki, remembering the kanji and so on in there. But that also didn't perform too well. Yeah. I mean, if I was more focused on products, or if I would introduce a product for some reason, like let's say talk about Wagyu beef, and then there's a Wagyu beef provider in the US or so, that could work. Or I talk about sake and then I link it in the description. That could also work, but then again, not sure about. Yeah, probably it would work. Probably better than just putting some links there. And then I imagine for cars, if he's talking about this is how you can do it, and you just need this part or so, and then he could link maybe in the description. So if it works together like this, I imagine the conversion rate is much higher than what I got. Yeah. Okay, with that being said, we are at 1 hour and 35 minutes. So I think we had a good chat today. Thank you all for joining. Any last words? Please let me know. All right, there they're coming. By the way, do you have time to rest nowadays? Like work from home must be really hard, I guess. We hope you are taking care of yourself. Oh, you saw? Again, the light went off. Battery is out of battery. Depends. So this month was a little bit more overtime than I would like to. But generally, I think it's good. I like going to the office to interact with people and so on, and especially if I have to talk to a lot of people to get something done, then it's nice to be there. But I think doing this 1 day a week or so is enough, and I can actually, if I have to focus on something, it's easier to do at home for me. So it's not too bad for me to be at home. You can make anything. You want to try this ramen, click here. You get money no matter what they buy. That's true. It's not only when they buy. Yes, that's correct. And it's funny to see sometimes what people are buying. Okay, have a nice night. We'll let you go. Light's gone. Time to sleep. Yes. Oh, wait. Switch off another one. Boom. That's just one left. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for your time tonight and or today, wherever you may be. Have a great remainder of the day, and then we talk again, hopefully pretty soon. So then again, as always, thank you for watching the stream tonight, and then see you next time. I have to find the button. Here it is. Good night.